Hey everybody, coming to you live from Toronto, Ontario. This is the Orphan Black podcast, and I am here with my good friend Thomas Christie. By the way, I'm Eric Plaskosh. I didn't even say that. We're podcasting Orphan Black. Tom, you excited about this? We haven't done this in a while.
It's good to be back. A little break in between, busy lives, but happy to be back.
I noticed you have a sexy muscle shirt on. Is that specifically for the podcast?
Yes, I thought today I'd shake it up a little. I considered going shirtless. I was going to say something funny like coming to you live shirtless from Ottawa, but I decided to go with a shirt, but not a full shirt. This is kind of my compromise between the two.
Well, you wearing a shirt is probably devastating to the one follower that we may have. But next time we'll if you know what, well, if the followers want to get into the live tweets, go in the comments section, and then let us know if you want us to do podcast shirt on, shirt off. Really, give us your feedback on the shirts because that's probably the most important part of the entire deal.
If I get enough tweets, I will take my shirt off. No problem. No problems there.
And apologies if if anyone watches this because we haven't done this in a few weeks. You were away in Chicago. I was out in Vancouver for a bit, but now we're back on track, and hopefully we can pound out a few of these and get through the first season. Because I know it must be frustrating for you to watch one episode at a time, right, Tom?
Well, it's really tough to stop after. I mean, that's a mark of a good show. It's really tough to finish on one of those cliffhangers and then not just click on the next episode. That's our generation, though. We're used to binge watching everything. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's. I know you have to go somewhere, so let's dive right into this. Just to give everyone a quick recap on what's kind of going on in the show so far. So this is episode 4. So far, Sarah Manning has stolen the identity of Beth Childs. She's found out about her clone duplicates, Allison and Kasima. And then she also, one of the duplicates, who was a German, Katya, was murdered, and she had to bury the body. And now this other killer that murdered Katya turned out to be another duplicate. So I think we're up to 5 now. And also, Sarah was contemplating kind of taking off, going on the run with Kira, but after she saw her last week, she's decided not to screw over the clones, take the 75K and go on the run, but now she's going to stay. So we're pretty much up to date, right, Tom? Is there anything I'm missing?
Nope. That's where I'm at also. Thank you for the recap, though, because we did have a bit of a gap in between there, so I'm all caught up. Let's do this.
Yeah, okay.
We're back.
Whoa, that was weird. There's a big server cutout. I'm not sure what happened or if this will mess the video up, but let's just keep going. If this did mess up the first part of the broadcast, just let everyone know we kind of went over what happened to date, and now we're going to get into the start of the episode.
Okay.
I guess that's the best way to do it. I'm not really sure if that whole intro was lost or not. But
no, I'm sure it just recorded. I mean, it still says live. I'm sure it just recorded through it. Either way.
If you missed the intro, Tom and I were contemplating taking our shirts off. That's about it. Okay, so now we're at the bathroom. The blonde assassin is cleaning out her wounds in the sink because Sarah stabbed her last week with like some piping. And really making a mess. She's not using a lot of discretion when cleaning out her woods. What do you say?
No. Well, I assumed initially it was her bathroom, so make as much of a mess as you want. It's your bathroom. Although it didn't seem like she was taking too much care to be sterile while cleaning or suturing the wound. Like, I don't know much about being a doctor, but she just grabbed that little case with the sewing needle with her blood-soaked, dirty glove, and then just immediately started stitching her wound without. Usually, someone would take a lighter or something and heat up that needle to a high temperature to kill all the bacteria and germs on it, but she doesn't care. She for sure is getting an infection, but she doesn't care.
You know a lot about sterile wound cleaning. I think this has been kind of an ongoing discussion on this podcast. You know a lot about suturing, apparently.
Hey man, I didn't suffer through 7 seasons of Grey's Anatomy for nothing, okay? I know a thing or two about and House. I love Doctor House.
Yeah, he wasn't into suturing though. He
No,
was more like you
yeah,
know, he
yeah,
tortured his patients to figure out what is going on with the weird diseases
yeah.
they have.
He just got high all the time and then played mind games with people. He didn't do much actual doctoring, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then something weird happens next. The kid kind of opens the door and really isn't too alarmed when he sees this random suturing, blood everywhere. He's not even kind of frightened by her. He just kind of, okay, I'm gonna come
So
in.
whose kid is that?
We find out later it's a random house and there's just some kid there.
For a second, because I mean, we had a bit of a gap between episodes there, but for a second, I thought it was the other clone's kid, the soccer mom, Allison or whatever. I thought it was her kid at
Uh,
first.
no, actually, Allison's kids are like not white.
Oh, right, because she adopted them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Um,
Good hosting.
yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. If you were, how old do you think that kid is? If you were like a 7-year-old kid and you saw it random and there's blood everywhere,
She didn't make
wouldn't you
didn't make
be
a
kind of alarmed?
didn't make a sound, didn't scream, didn't anything like that. Yeah, for sure, you'd be terrified. It'd be like opening the closet after having a nightmare and seeing a monster in there.
Yeah.
Any kid would scream their head off there and go running back upstairs.
Yeah, I think 9 out of 10 kids would really freak out. But I don't know.
And it'd be like imagine coming down to that bathroom the next morning and just seeing blood everywhere and blood all over your kid because he got blood all over his feet and she was touching him with her hand like there'd been blood all over his pajamas and your bathroom's covered in blood when you come down for breakfast in the morning.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd probably take half a day off work.
Man, that's what happened to the Trudeau family. You hear about that?
No, what
In
happened?
Ottawa, Pierre Trudeau, he came downstairs in the morning and someone had broken into his house and like laid out all his butcher knives in his kitchen and left a
What?
note. Yeah, and left a note on top that said you shouldn't leave your door unlocked.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
at his back door, they like gathered a bunch of their personal items, like private personal stuff, and they gathered them all at the back door, and then put another note on that and said we could have stolen all of this, and
Did
then left.
Justin
Like,
did Justin Trudeau find the killer downstairs or the
no,
burglar?
no, it all happened while his wife and kids were asleep, and then they found out the next morning. Crazy,
Ugh.
eh?
Yeah, that'll take years off your life. I don't think I'd be able to sleep really well if
Oh,
anyone ever broke into my house, let
it's
alone
tough.
laid out butcher knives on the table.
When I was in first year university, somebody broke into my res room while I was sleeping. We'd been out drinking the night before and went to bed, and then at like 4:30 in the morning, somebody had broken into our residence building, and
Yeah.
my door was unlocked, but I was in there sleeping, and he came in and took my Xbox and my laptop, and while I was sleeping, he carried them out. But he left the Xbox in the hall. Like he decided not to take it. It was too heavy, I guess, or whatever. But
He's probably just a nice burglar. He probably is
yeah,
like,
he was like, this kid needs his Xbox.
man,
Yeah.
Xbox is like that's like really hurting someone. So that's
Yeah.
nice.
Laptop with all my university tests, study notes on it, everything. I don't need that. But Xbox, I'm in big trouble. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I left it.
No, good choice by him. I would prefer to leave the Xbox than the laptop, but personal preference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So next we're at Allison's house, and Sarah visits and tells Allison about the other killer clone, and then also she returns the 75K. Kind of comes clean about the whole thing. She's like, "Yeah, I was gonna take off, but I got a daughter too." And then she drops a little. Allison drops a little hint. She's like, "Wait, you have a biological daughter?" And she's kind of weirded out by
Yeah.
that. So what do you think
So
is going on at this point?
so are the other clones infertile? Is
If
that where this is going? I suppose I shouldn't be asking you questions. That kind of goes against our cool little model here.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would guess the other clones have none of them have been able to have a child. It doesn't look like the professor has tried, but certainly Allison adopted. So one would think that she is barren, unable to conceive.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think
so
Helena's the killer clone, the blonde one, Helena. I don't think she's ever been on a date, let alone
you
given
don't think
children.
she's been out trying to have a couple of kids? No.
I don't know. She could be in the kinky fetish scene, like those whips on her back. they might not be religious
But she
purposes.
cuts her, yeah, she cuts herself. That's so weird. No way. As soon as if you were fooling around with her, as soon as you got her shirt off, you'd be like, okay, something's wrong here. We need to give this girl some help. You
Yeah, but
certainly
we're
would. You certainly would like, okay, I'll get her some help after I get her pregnant. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think.
yeah, but like we live in an era where the internet, you can find any kind of niche dating
Yeah,
scene. So like, the whips on the back dating scene, that's probably
it,
already a
it
site that
exists.
exists. Yeah,
On
for sure.
Tinder,
It's
cut
yeah,
yourself. Want to have a baby? I'm your guy.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's a Tinder group. There's probably like a category for that on Tinder.
Yeah. I love being in a relationship, but I feel like this whole Tinder generation, we just missed it. You know, that
I
would
missed
have
it
been
by
funny even
one year.
just to have our friends surrounded with people surrounding us doing it and stuff. But it just to me it just seems so entertaining.
Yeah.
All the people I work at are on Tinder, and it's just like they've got these crazy Tinder stories, and then after every weekend they come back and at least one person has some funny Tinder story. It's usually of like meeting up with someone they met on Tinder and it being an absolute nightmare, like it
Yeah.
being horrible. They're rarely ever good story. They're rarely like, oh, I met the greatest guy on Tinder. It's always like met this guy on Tinder. It turned out to be a huge creep, but
No, really? On Tinder?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, that's
yeah, yeah.
surprising.
Are you surprised? Yeah.
I ghostwrite for one of my friends at work on Tinder, so he's not
Oh
good at
wow.
get he's not good at getting the conversation going, so I'll
Yeah.
write a funny, witty thing to start the combo, and then I'll let him take it from there.
I never. What do you like? How do you choose which pictures to use as your three pictures? That's all. That would always be that'd be very stressful for me. I would never know which ones to choose.
Well,
Like you
you
have
have
to.
so many good pictures that it would be hard to
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm
opt
saying.
right.
Yeah, dude, what do you want to do? You're basically trying to pitch yourself to a person in three pictures. That's a tall order.
You know what I
Like,
would try to do? I would try to do. You know what everyone's doing wrong on Tindering? They put the exact same selfie up, and there's nowhere to go with the conversation. What I would do is do stuff like different activities or something, like
yeah,
maybe playing basketball or like something, so then
yeah,
you can get like a conversation going based on the pictures, because that's how it works. It's like
juggling or
you,
something.
yeah, yeah. I always start the conversation by creeping when I ghost Tinder, the girl's pictures, and then I'll say something witty about the pictures or
Yeah,
the bio. But
but
a girl that has just selfies and like a three-word bio, I don't know where to go.
honestly, I think we're going to get to a point, and I don't think it's that far in the future, where the whole facade of the selfie and stuff is just going to go away, and all it's going to be on Tinder is like your dick, your butt, and your face.
Oh,
Those are the three pictures, or something. I don't know, something like
yeah,
that. Just
it'll
skip
be
the whole. Just cut right down to the nuts and bolts of it. Right? Save yourself
yeah.
20 minutes.
People's personalities are really going to suffer in this generation. I feel, because
Yeah.
like before you really had to like impress someone. Now it's like everything is judged just purely on
Appearance is
what
huge.
you look
Yeah.
like.
You know who's winning? The big retailers, the clothing stores, because everyone has to look good all the time because you're judged so quickly. And gyms, everyone's trying to look better, look fitter. Like I think in like supplement companies, these people are winning big in this Tinder generation. Because
Yeah.
you're right, so much of you don't get that time to meet someone in class and like flirt with them for a while, then like take them on a couple of dates. Some study I read the other day said that a girl decides in this generation whether or not she wants to sleep with you in the first like
Five
seven
seconds.
7 seconds or something. Yeah. So you literally have to look good. You have to be well dressed and like what do you get? What can you get in 7 seconds? Like one quick joke, like "Hey, how are you?" or something. Like, that's all your mind and voice and everything is like factoring into it.
Yeah, I don't want to go on too much of a rant, but I noticed this especially with The Bachelorette, and I'm not ashamed to say that I watch it.
Uh,
But
we got a
everybody,
match question.
but everybody on that show is a pretty shell of a person. They have zero personality. They have
Yeah.
nothing interesting to say, and
Right.
literally they all say the same thing. What they should say, like, "Oh, I love this path that we're on. I'm here for the right reasons." Like they're all high and mighty. Oh my god, it's so annoying, but entertaining at the same time.
Hey, I mean, it gets 8 trillion watchers a week, right? So they're doing something right.
Yeah, well, I watched it on three screens simultaneously, so
Yeah.
I'm sure I think everyone's doing that.
Is it because of Sam that you're so into it?
No, I just like it. It's just like it's the most shallow people on television, so I
Shallow.
enjoy that.
All right. Well, good for you, man. I appreciate your honesty.
Okay, we gotta get through this because I know you gotta get going. But yeah. So pretty much, Sarah just meets with Allison, tells her about the killer, and then she's just like, you know what, want to help out, just be available. And then, not too much to talk about.
Yeah.
So then we're back at Felix's, and then Sarah and Kasim are on the phone, or they're on Skype or Google Hangouts, and then and then Kasim is pressuring Sarah to come up with more about the killer, and Sarah also decides that it's probably best to stay as Beth because she actually feels safer hanging out with the cops, which is probably the right move to make. What would you do in that situation?
I mean, it's tough because she's incredibly confident. I can't believe nothing's come up so far in her day-to-day police activities that have stumped her. That's like you and I going into a financial investment firm. Like if my twin worked and I'm going in, and then how long could I last before somebody asked me a question that like I should be able to answer easily? Like, what is this index? What is the index on this today's morning? And I have no idea how to answer it. So it just seems like she's somehow, I guess, because they think she's shocked from this shooting. She's getting away with all kinds of stuff there. If I were her, I'd be way more nervous. But I
Yeah,
guess
I
it's like a
guess.
sniper looking for you.
Yeah, like I guess maybe well, it's hard because you're pretty much all these detectives are stumped by this killer situation. So just acting
Mhm.
stumped is probably the easiest thing to do in a situation because it'd be
Right.
hard, you're a detective, you're trying to solve things that are hard to solve. So being stumped is like an easy out.
Just walk around like George Costanza from Seinfeld, look really
Just
annoyed and busy all the time, so no one bothers you. Go. Ah.
yeah, I got a lot to do.
Yeah, just constantly doing laps around the office with that look on her face.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good episode. Um, and then kind of while they're on Skype, Kasim is looking at the fish knife and kind of giving some background on, yeah, it's a religious thing. And then that's kind of all we get from that. And then pretty much some sidebar notes. Allison sends her kids away, and that was kind of funny part when her husband's a bit confused, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Why are you sending the kids away?" She's like,
Yeah.
"I just want time to myself." He's like,
Yeah.
"Why?" She's like, "Well, aren't you gonna be like out tonight?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, when you show up at 3 o'clock in the morning drunk, I'll let you know then."
Yeah, I feel like for all of us guys who are lucky enough to have sort of loving girlfriends in our lives, we can all relate to that in a little way. We go out and get a little wild and come home, and that's where it's a pretty common scenario, anyways. So I could see my girlfriend for sure doing that to me, and I'm me
Yeah.
being like, all right, Kifka, you win, of course, like because you feel bad,
Well,
obviously.
it seems like Allison's husband is a little absentee. Like the first episode, she asked him to watch the kids. He's like, "I have golf." She's like, "You're watching golf?" He's like, "No, I'm playing golf." And now he's like expecting
Yeah.
her to deal with the kids again. He's very. It's all about him for Allison's husband. It feels like.
Yeah, he's clearly is a workaholic type, and she stays home and takes care of sort of all the domestic responsibilities. So I feel like, and she has that kind of personality. Like when she wants something, like, she fucking gets it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and he's just like, yep, whatever you want, you got it.
Yeah.
Plus, she's
Uh,
way hotter than he is.
yeah. She's way
Yeah,
out
so
of his league.
he's desperate. Like if he lost her, he'd be in big trouble. So
Yeah. And then that's pretty much the what the scene contains. And then next we're at the not the crime scene, but where Helena was cleaning her wounds.
mhm.
And Sarah's with Art, and they talk to Trevor, who's the kid that saw Helena, and he's kind of freaked out. And then he fingers Sarah as what Helena looks like, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a woman," like not thinking that it's like
But it's exactly her. Yeah.
yeah, which yeah, I can buy into that. And then Trevor gives Sarah the note from Helena, which is very artistically done in blood.
Right. It's one of those pick a number. Is it
We
one of
we
those?
we call those. I was
I don't
trying
know.
to think of the name for it.
Girls used to always come up to you in like middle school and be like, pick a number, and they'd be like 4, and you go in, and they'd be like, pick a color, you'd be like blue. They'd be like, "You're gay," and always had some stupid thing. Like you'd open it up and it'd be like, "You're gay." It was some stupid thing inside of it. It was one of those. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, or it's like you like the most unpopular girl in the grade.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You like some gross girl, and you're like, "Ew, no, I don't." And everyone like tells you that you do for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and then they say Lingy germs no returns, and then that follows you the rest of elementary school.
Until your second year of university.
Yeah. Uh, okay, so then Trevor gives it to Sarah, and then Sarah gives it to Art, and then it's kind of goes into circulation at the police station. And
They make
then
copies of it, I guess.
no, they just bagged and tagged it. I think that's
Oh,
what you
okay.
said.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't watched a lot of CIS, but yeah.
I feel like I saw more than one of them going around. If they get a bunch of detectives to like get together and make them, like remake the ones, they're all
Yeah,
sitting around
they're
making
all
notes and facts,
recreating them, and
yeah, playing with them.
yeah, and then one of them says, "You like Raj?"
Yeah, but I think Raj should have more of a role. I like Raj.
Man, Raj is yeah, he's on his way up. I think I don't think he doesn't really make too many appearances, but when he's in them, it's pretty funny.
He's getting a little more confident now too. In the first episode, he was like deer in the headlights, so intimidated. Now he's coming up. He's like cracking jokes. He's like introducing himself in the conversation. So
Yeah,
I think they may be carving out a bit bigger of a role for Raj.
yeah. And then what happens next? So Mrs. S calls Sarah, and they're just confirming they have a plan for Sarah to see Kira, and there's a lot riding on stake with this meeting because Mrs. S is like, if you don't make it, don't even bother trying to see her again because it won't happen. Which is, little. Some things come up sometimes. She didn't seem to have too much of a understanding when it comes to Sarah shenanigans.
I guess she's been burned enough times, and she's sort of putting her foot down here because she doesn't want to get the kid's hopes up. That's the thing, right? The kid can't have her heart broken many more times before she'll turn into a bitter and jaded little young lady. So I think that Mrs. S is just protecting the kid. She's kind of giving her one more chance, and if you break her heart again and make her feel abandoned or stood up again, then it's over, kind of thing. So
yeah,
I'm on board with it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Liar Liar. You don't want a Jim Carrey act where he keeps bailing on the kid.
Yeah, like Liar Liar.
Yeah. I made a Liar Liar reference 20 years later.
Attaboy, classic movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Jim Carrey. It's a Canadian guy. Just shout out to the Canadians. Canadian content the podcast is based around.
I would not buy into Jim Carrey's stock right now, though. I think it's going to plummet after Dumb and Dumber 2 gets releases.
Oh, come on. That's going to be hilarious.
Oh, it's going to be bad. I can tell you right now.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You think it's going to be bad? Well, we disagree there, my friend. I can't wait for that.
It's going to be terrible. It's going to be like Indiana Jones 4, but worse.
Okay, well, let's not compare it to the Indiana Jones remake. I mean, Dumb and Dumber is the kind of movie that knows exactly what it is, right? So people who love the first one, I think, are really going to like the second one.
I don't think so. I think they're going to blow the characters out of proportion, and it's not going to have the balance that a movie like that needs.
All right, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll still be doing the podcast, God willing, that when that movie comes out, and we can take a look at the box office numbers and the critical response after, and we can see who was right.
Yeah, definitely. We'll follow up on this. Yeah, whenever Dumb and Dumber 2 comes out. I'm not going to theaters to watch it. I'm going to stream that. I can tell you right now.
Yeah? That's not a theater trip for you?
It's not worth $15. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, man, the price of movies these days. Yeah, I've been downloading a lot more lately. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then, okay, so we're at the police station, and then all the police detectives are piecing together the murderer's backstory. And this feels like it's kind of funny. It's so typical. They're like doing the psychology. Well, she what's the point of the psychology? Like, oh yeah,
isolated loner.
Isolated loner.
Yeah, it's always...
does that have anything to do with like finding the person? Like,
no,
where do isolated people hang out?
That's I don't know. for some reason they always get into this profiling thing. I used to remember I was a big X-Files fan back in the day, and that was David Duchovny's. That's why he became like he was such a good profiler that they let him take over the X-Files and do whatever he wanted. But that was the thing that he could, based on what a criminal had done, like a serial killer had done up until a certain point, and based on previous serial killers they caught in the past, he could like identify and profile their personality and then sort of figure out their habits and like eventually narrow down the search focus for them and find them, kind of thing. So that's sort of like that's what they're doing. But I mean, it would take him like years to close a case. They're doing it in like 10 minutes. Yeah, and they all know like right away. Yeah.
Yeah, and then while they're doing these whole shenanigans, and then they ask Sarah for the fingerprint results, and then she covers that up nicely, and then she gets a call from the killer, and you realize the killer she kind of has a woman crush on Sarah, so she's talking about this whole connection thing, and that's why she didn't kill her. It feels like.
Right. So what is this connection? So this kind of takes me back to what we were talking about earlier. Is there something special about Beth? Like she can have a kid. She seems to have a connection with this girl.
Oh.
And this girl. What's up? Hello?
To do this. Okay.
Oh, we're back. Hey, buddy. You there?
Yeah. I think it's on my side. I'm not sure why it's doing that. What did you just explain?
I just said that the connection between the two of them, does it have anything to do with the fact that is Beth a little different than the other clones? Is Beth because Beth can have a kid?
Well, it's Sarah, and then
sorry, Beth, Sarah, yeah. Well, she's playing Beth right now.
I know, but you gotta keep it straight. We gotta be good for the analysis.
Of course, my apologies.
I know one thing: Sarah's connection to Helena is better than my connection to the internet.
Yeah. That's some good topical humor. That's good, man. One day I used to I emceed a wedding on the weekend, my first time ever being an MC, and that's what people love. You have to be able to make fun of stuff quickly on the spot. Well done, my friend. Very well done.
Very topical. Within the 10 seconds that it was topical.
Yeah.
Like it feels like there is some sort of connection there, and you don't really know. Like what I'm getting from the whole episode is that Sarah is different in some way, and possibly Helena is too, because the whole thing with she can conceive children, and it feels like the rest of the clones that surprised them. And then, just the feeling that Helena has with Sarah. So, there's a few things that you kind of start figuring out, okay, maybe this whole puzzle, Sarah's the key to some, angle in some weird way.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then, Helena actually gives her name. And then she's like, "Where do we meet?" And she's like, "Well, the numbers are in that note that I gave you." So the little what's it called? The 1, 2, 3 paper.
Choose
let's
your
make
your
it.
name.
Let's make a name for it. What are those called?
Choose your fantasy.
Let's call them fortune paper mache things.
Fortune paper mache things. That's such a nice, clean, small name, easy to say. I like it.
It rolls right off the tongue. It's the best.
Right off the tongue. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So the fortune teller thing. So the numbers are on it, and then what's his name? Art comes in and he's like, "Oh, they're all addresses," and he's figured it out. And then 3 of them were the 3 spots that they previously had a run-in with Helena. And then the last one is 1024, which apparently is only one location in the entire city. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Do you think there's only one address that has 1024 on it?
No, with no street name, that makes no sense. Even if like we're in Toronto, clearly we're in Scarborough, Toronto. That's millions and millions of people live there. There's no way. There's so many streets and there's so many 1024s. I have no idea. Unless they cross-referenced it in their police database with something else, and they found that it was. I don't know. That was a bit of a plot hole there, actually, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hard to believe, but you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
So then, so they make their way off to the location, and then Helena, the killer, was actually outside the entire time and dresses up, pretending to be
Right.
Beth Childs as well.
Yeah.
And
So she
she walks in, and Raj immediately says, "Whoa, looks like you're
what a rough night. Yeah.
that was pretty funny. That was Raj coming out of his shell for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was the scene where I was like, "Hey, Raj, like maybe he's coming up a little bit in the show. He's got a funny joke, a little one-liner, and but
Yeah. So Helena just stares at him blankly, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, sorry."
yeah, it keeps walking. Another funny intro, funny exit for Raj.
Yeah, Raj firing on both ends.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then Helena starts poking her head around, and I like Helena as a character. I think she's the way Tatiana Maslany kind of embodies her is kind of funny because
yeah,
she almost acts like a kid, like the way she eats stuff or like plays with
yeah,
the pictures and things.
yeah,
It gives almost a childlike quality to this murderous villain.
yeah. Well, that's all those like really good sort of creepy serial killers and all those scary movies. This is like she's a perfect kind of like twist on that. I think she had a little bit of, yeah. She's funny. She's kind of entertaining. Like you find yourself, even though you hate her, you find yourself kind of liking her. You know, like
Yeah,
she's. I hope she doesn't die. I mean, knock on wood. I don't know if she's dead or not yet. It looks like she was certainly very close, but
yeah.
let's hope she hangs around.
Definitely. And then while she's there, she also calls Paul, or Paul calls, and then she's like, "Oh, come get me. I miss you." Yada yada
Yeah.
yada. And then yeah, and then sorry, we're at 10:24. I don't care the street because it's the only 10:24
Yeah.
in Toronto.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
and then they go into Helena's little den area, and then you find the drawings. So where do you think the drawings could be at? The clones or something else?
Maybe there's so my brain jumped quickly to think that maybe there's hundreds of them and like she's killed a ton and they're down to however many left, 5 or 6, or maybe there's more. But there were so many on the wall that could there be that many out and about in the world? Or
I don't know. I think if there was like this many, like if there's like a collection of like 50, even 50 side, if there's a collection of like 20, I don't think the fact that they would run into each other is probably pretty rare. But like
yeah,
having
yeah,
like there was like thousands of the clones on the wall.
yeah,
Having
yeah, yeah,
thousands of them, this would have been like discovered like way back.
yeah, for sure. Someone would
Especially
have
especially in the
YouTube
age of
video this and
Facebook.
yeah, someone would just snap a cell phone pic of them walking together or show
Yeah.
one to their friend. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no. In the internet age, this they wouldn't have not discovered each other sooner if there were that many.
Right.
So
So what did the one at the top there with the red question mark in blood as the head? Is
yeah,
is that her? She's in charge of all that. She thinks she's the first one, and these are all like copies of her, or is that who's controlling them all? What's going on up there?
yeah. So I don't know exactly. I would think it's either kind of who's the original because all the other ones were kind of small. This one was big.
Yeah.
So it's possibly who was the original, and these clones are all made of them, or it's
So
like who is the creator of all these
yeah. Okay.
clones. That's what I
Okay.
got from it. I don't know. What did you get from it?
That's what I just thought maybe I couldn't either because it's a question mark, right? So she doesn't know who it is. So I thought maybe she doesn't know uh, if she's the original or not, or who the original is. But I think she considers herself the original or wants to be the original,
Yeah.
or whoever sort of created them or made the copies. But it looked like it was a very similar in drawing to all the other stick figures. So I thought, anyways, it's hard. Who knows?
Hmm.
I'm assuming she thinks she wants to know who the original is, and she's not sure if it's her or not.
Right.
Hence the question mark.
Hmm. Okay. And then as this is all going down, Sarah calls Felix, and Felix is painting Cosima and asks if Cosima has bigger breasts, and then
Yeah,
you get a look at the picture, and Cosima's like boobs are like coming out of her shirt.
yeah, hanging out. Yeah, yeah,
I thought that was just a funny little they like to kind of sprinkle these little funny parts into the
Yeah.
show, which I appreciate.
I also like that he was painting in just his apron and nude otherwise.
Yeah, you get a nice shot of Felix's backside in his painting apron.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, these are the first butt cheeks we've seen since Paul's in the first episode.
Well, Felix was butt cheeks were in the first episode too. So
Right.
was it the first episode? Yeah. So it's we've gone 2 episodes without seeing butt cheeks, and now we're back on track.
The drought is over, my friends.
Yeah. I got like I think they should try to come up with like a one butt cheek per episode quota because that's the best part of the show.
Speaking of butt cheeks, I loved your icebreaker challenge video on Facebook that you did in your underwear.
Yeah, I my girlfriend challenged me to the ice bucket challenge, and then I thought I'm like, what would make this funny? Okay, I'll do them in bright purple underwear.
Yeah, I love it. I laugh. I don't know. Don't Simon, Ben, and Ollie only have until today to do that?
Yeah, I don't think Simon's gonna go through this because he doesn't like people with Lou Gehrig's disease, and
Yeah. What's his problem?
and I think Ben's gonna do it this weekend, and then Ollie, he's kind of stoned all the time, so I don't think he's gonna get to it until next week.
Yeah, he's just waking up. It's early in the morning for him right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think Ben will do it. Simon should do it, but yeah, hopefully. I was thinking about nominating you, but I thought I'd keep it Toronto-based.
No, I hear that. I hear you, buddy. I think it's better if it's a local. I think it's better if it's local because you can kind of keep tabs on them, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But there's no reason not to do it. It's easy to do, and it's a funny thing. hmm And then okay. So after Sarah talks to Felix on the phone, she comes up with this idea to see Kira because she doesn't really want to go there because she thinks Helene is watching her. And then they come up with a plan to get Allison to pretend to be her while seeing her daughter. Pretty good plan, actually. What do you think?
I don't know. She had no other choice, I suppose. I didn't see that. I didn't see A, Allison agreeing to it, which she ended up doing, which was cool, and B, if she did, pulling it off. But I just did. I thought it was a terrible plan because you've known Mrs. S and the daughter have known her whole life, and now she's gonna show up there and with a fake accent, try and convince them otherwise. I just didn't think it was gonna work.
Yeah. Allison came through in the clutch because not only did she do a good job pretending to be her, but when Kira found her out, she managed that situation as well, which was pretty good.
For sure.
But you could tell like there were it was actually really well acted by Tatiana Maslany because you can see kind of sprinkles of Allison while she's trying to pretend to be Sarah, and it's funny, all these. I like it when the clones are trying to be each other and not just Sarah trying to be them because she's like the con artist, but like vice versa is pretty funny.
Allison doing the British accent was classic.
Yeah, and she could pull this off because she was in community theater last season.
Yeah, Felix is rattled. He's so offended as like an artist. He's very offended that she was cast in that role.
Yeah, and her accent starting out was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It was like, hello, mate.
Yeah, it was like Australian.
And he's like, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
But,
good scene, though. Good little scene there.
Yeah, it's funny, her doing her warm-up exercises and, like, tilting her pelvis. What does tilting the pelvis do when acting? Does a certain angle of pelvis help your acting ability? I wonder.
I don't know. Maybe it helps you get your diaphragm down lower so you can speak louder. Like, I don't get that how now brown cow type like the Ron Burgundy vocal exercises before you go do something. I don't get those either.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tilt my pelvis for the rest of this podcast, and then let me know if you notice a difference.
Yeah, I'll report back.
Okay. And then we're back at the police office, and then Sarah and Art come back, and then Raj pays the compliments, and Sarah's like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, you look so nice." And then Art says, "Keep it in your pants, Raj."
Keep it in your pants, Raj.
That was another Raj is on fire this episode. I wish he's a permanent character. But
Good little, good
sorry,
little
go.
chirp by Art. Good little chirp by Art though. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was
Art,
funny.
Art, Art's showing off a bit of a sense of humor there out of nowhere.
Yeah, Art is usually not funny
No,
whatsoever.
he's all business, but he showed us to me he may have a bit of a softer side. I think he may have a thing for Beth slash Sarah.
Yeah, so this was
Yes,
a weird part because pretty much Paul like bursts into the office, and then
right? Because they beef.
what happened? Art asks, "Is everything all right?" And then Paul spazzes out, and he's like, "Does everything look all right?"
Yeah, we're like
And,
whoa.
and Art's like, "I guess not."
Yeah. Clearly, there's I think there's some tension there from the past, perhaps.
There's
Perhaps that's just a theory of mine, though.
there's some male testosterone going between the two of those guys. Who would you pick?
Yeah.
The guy who is ridiculously jacked, or a black cop
The
who's
street, the street,
who's
the street, the
streetwise?
streetwise cop from the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah,
Gotta
exactly.
go with the cop there.
Really?
Paul is Paul's built, but you have to think that Art's been in tons of he has hand-to-hand combat training. He's been in lots of fights. He's probably not in terrible shape either. And it's different when you have the mentality where like you know how to attack someone and subdue them, and you have like that confidence. That makes a huge difference. Whether you can make up for a ton of size and strength discrepancies if you have that like mentality. Like, you know how to fight. You brace for the fight. You know how to handle your adrenaline and your own emotions while you're in a fight. That's the whole thing, right? Like some guys get in a fight and they haven't fought like maybe 2 times in their lives, and they start throwing huge punches and they get off balance, and you just wait until they're off balance, and then you kind of tackle them and pin their arm behind their back, and you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
I've seen it 1,000 times outside of bars and stuff when you see huge guys take swings at like little female cops or whatever, and then they just quickly
So you're saying
dispose of them with no difficulty.
so you're saying power in the gluteus muscles have nothing to do with winning a fight?
Hey, I am not taking anything away from Paul's butt cheeks. Don't try to discredit me like that in front of our fans. I'm
Okay.
just saying that he would put up a fight for sure. And if he ever got Art into a position where he was leg thrusting him, like a leg press type motion out away from his body, or maybe he got like a kick in, then Art's KO'd.
Yeah.
We know those legs are bringing some power.
We're just saying like out of 100 times, Art would win 60, Paul would win 40, something like that.
Something like that. I might give Art a little more. I feel like we're playing like it's one of those PTI games, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I say 74 times out of 100.
Right. And then to get back on track, Sarah also went back to her desk, and she notices that Paul's eyes are dug out on the picture, and she also notices that the symbol that was on the fish symbol that was on the knife is also the same symbol on the back of Maggie Chan's neck. Yeah. So what were you thinking at this point?
I don't know. I didn't know. I mean, and the religious thing kind of clicked there. I was wondering if, again, we touched on the religion angle before, so it's kind of in the back of my head, but we know that religion doesn't like science and clones, so maybe there's some religious sect trying to wipe out the clones, and maybe Maggie and Beth were getting into a gunfight or something. Maybe Maggie was trying to kill Beth, and Beth knew it, and that's why she shot her, and then they used the cell phone to stage like the accidental shooting, but that was all. That was my only theory at the time.
Right. So back to and that's pretty much what Casima actually kind of confirmed. She tells Sarah that Beth probably shot Maggie on purpose, and knew that she was part of this kind of religious cult that hated the people. So we get a confirmation right away on the theory.
Right.
And then when Sarah gets off the phone, Art's really diving into her personal life. He's like,
Yeah.
I thought you and Paul were broken up. Art kind of sounds like that
He
jealous
wants to
guy
bang
that's
her.
in the friend zone. He's in the friend zone, and he
He's
doesn't
been
want to be
friends
there.
He's been
Yeah.
He's been Ben Resnick into the friend zone, and he's rattled by it. Or the other thing is, it's possible that they have hooked up already. You know, we want to rule that out, right? I do get the vibe that Art's been friend zoned and he's a little bitter about it. but they
Or
also
he's like a jealous ex-boyfriend kind of,
exactly. So they
and
try
they remain friends or partners.
right. So they because how many times in the world of media have we seen two partners, cops, partners, male, female, hooking up with each other? Right. It's like the classic.
Uh,
Or
yeah,
like
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Rookie Blue.
yeah.
All these shows are like Grey's Anatomy though. They just want people to hook up for the sake of hooking up.
Man, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You don't like that show?
Oh, I love it. But
Okay,
that's
good,
like
good, good.
that's not your typical Grey's Anatomy drama.
No, no, no. I love that show. I hope that doesn't go anywhere. That's gonna get canceled, is it?
No, no, no.
It's not,
Well, what's the main actor's? I can't
Andy
think of it.
Samberg?
Andy Samberg got nominated for an Emmy this year, and usually when you get Emmy
Oh.
nominations, it keeps the life of the show going.
Yeah, okay, that's good. No, except for Arrested Development.
Yeah, well, we're in a different era now. Now that
Yeah,
people know how to get get access to shows, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine's on Netflix too, so it's
yeah,
doing
that's
well.
key. That's key. Okay, good. Thank you for easing my fears there.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be fine. And then so I don't know why Sarah actually explains herself to Art, because if someone started diving into your personal business, you should just say it's none of your business, and that's the end of the conversation. By
I think
keeping
it's
it, yeah, sorry.
sorry, you mean to interrupt, but I think it's because they have a past. They have a history. So he has like intimate knowledge of her, and she feels like she owes him an explanation, or he feels like she owes him an explanation.
Right. Hmm. But she doesn't know that. She has
You're
no
right.
idea.
True, true. So she should be getting a little more defensive, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
She
she'd
should
be
be
like,
saying,
why?
"Hey, what kind of business is out of yours?" Yeah,
Yeah, why are you acting like a jealous girlfriend? Just chill out, Art.
yeah. He's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring art like I wouldn't bring art to like a house party. You know, if my friend was having one and people didn't know him very well, like I wouldn't bring him. I just feel like he's too serious. Kind of a bummer.
He's a
Although
bit
he
in,
showed,
he's a bit intense. He's very intense is the word
yeah,
for it.
although he showed that he could be funny when he told Raj to keep his pants on, so or keep it in his pants. You
Yeah.
never know.
But I'm very protective of Raj, so I didn't like that either.
Yeah, I'd bring Raj to a house party in a second.
Oh man, being
Yeah,
Raj going to a house
Raj be
party?
the life of the party, man.
Oh, that's a dream. Okay. Well, we'll see. Maybe he's a Canadian actor. We can actually hang out with this guy.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
uh,
Me, him, Tatiana Maslany, the guy who
Mislani.
plays the Maslany, sorry, the guy who plays Felix.
Oh,
Yeah,
Felix would be fun to go to a house
we'd have
party with.
such a good time.
Aprons only. Not allowed to wear anything else.
Aprons only cocktail party in Felix's artsy loft, of course.
I'd actually do that theme for a cocktail party.
Yeah, it'd be a fun party.
Yeah. Okay. So then we're back, and they're talking about the facial reconstruction. It sounds like that's soon gonna bite Sarah. So she kind of has a limited time to start doing stuff,
Yeah,
and
like a
then
week, right?
yeah, and then she goes back to her computer, and Helena actually posted an address on where to meet her, and it's actually in Kensington Market. So if you're a detective, you're immediately thinking that Helena is a hipster.
Is a hipster, for sure. She lives near that car that they turned into a garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She probably owns so many pairs of fake sunglasses.
She probably goes to Wanda Pie in the Sky,
Yeah,
drinks
all the time.
drinks from that organic juice booth, and
And
then
fancy pranks.
yeah, and then shops at Blue Banana.
all the big hipster spots.
Yeah, definitely. And then Helena does a smart move. She leaves a confession video of killing Margaret Chan as Beth Childs. So she's threatening to blow up Sarah's spot. So there's incentives for Sarah to go meet her.
Yeah, that was a sick move. Very, very
Yeah.
smart.
Hmm. And then okay, we're back at Mrs. S's, and this is where Allison finally gets her act together, and she starts pretending to be Sarah in a convincing way. What did you think about her performance?
Well, I thought it was very smart of her to quickly switch when she realized Kira doesn't believe her, to quickly switch gears and just tell Kira the truth.
Hmm.
I thought that was all. I mean, what else could she have done, right? Like, she could have kept up the facade, and if she turned to Mrs. S and was like, "That's not my mom," Mrs. S probably wouldn't have believed her, just because nobody believes kids. They would have thought she's just being pouty because her mom ditched her. But
Yeah, plus it's been a year. She's like, "That's not my mom." She's like, "Well, it's been a while, just chill out."
I like that little girl who plays her though. She's got some spunk to her.
Yeah, she's an actual good actress because, like, sometimes kids try to overact and it
Yeah.
just ruins stuff.
Yeah.
Like the movie Kicking and Screaming. I can't even watch it, but
Yeah.
yeah, she
Full
does a
fail.
good does a good job of playing within herself.
Agreed. Good critique. You're getting very technical and like professional about your acting critiques.
Well, this is my fourth time doing this, so I'm getting pretty
Yeah,
good.
we're all pros now. We'll be like Siskel and Ebert before this is all over.
I know. I'm probably gonna be too big for this show. I might leave you to do this alone.
Yeah, well, I'll pop the shirt off and we'll get tons of people will be tuning just for that.
Yeah, that's true. Just you talking to yourself, shirtless.
Me solo monologue without a shirt on.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, Allison does a pretty good job. And then, kind of Mrs. S isn't the wiser. And then we're back at the police station, and Art is starting to get suspicious. He's kind of thinking Beth is lying. He's like, you know what? Fighting a woman is different than fighting a man. But they didn't really fight. It's more like the killer kind of knocked her out with a crowbar. And like you would think, it's not like they had tough hand-to-hand combat. Unless, did she
Yeah,
tell him that she stabbed the guy with a pipe?
with the rebar. I'm not sure if she told him that. She just, I'm trying to remember. I think she just said that she couldn't see her face or his face. She didn't get a good look at his face, and then I think that's all the detail that she gave at the
Right,
time. But Art's not impressed. He's bouncing his ideas off the other detective. He clearly is suspicious. So
right,
finally, it's coming unraveled a little. And honestly, I thought it would have happened sooner. I thought Art would have got suspicious a lot sooner. It's a miracle that he did. So
right.
here we go.
Hmm. And then Art does a good job. He can't find Sarah or Beth, and then he takes a look at her notepad and actually notices that the address that she wrote down is the same address in the Maggie Chan file. Did you catch that
Yeah.
right away, or did that take you a while?
No, I didn't catch that until he can put them right next to each other. So that was I didn't know. I was behind the eight ball on that.
Yeah,
But it's cool that he went in, like under the notepad, like where the impression was on the page below.
yeah.
That guy's a solid detective. He knows his way around I guess a pad of paper.
I liked where you were going with that. He knows his way around the paper bag. That's the first day one of detective school. Is always check
Yeah.
the underprint of a pad of
They hold
paper.
out the pad and they point to it.
Take a
You can do
look.
that thing too, where you put the other page on top with a pencil, and you can like rub the pencil over it like that. It gives you the impression of the image.
Yeah. What about squeezing the lemon juice and then holding it up to the flame? That's probably day 3.
Yeah. No, that's like third year. Third year. That's way too
Third year?
advanced.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in third year detective school.
Yeah. And then okay, so finally we're at the Waverly Hotel, and then Sarah finally meets up with Helena. And then Helena, I don't know what she's doing. She's fixing a ceiling light. What is she doing looking up at the ceiling there?
Praying. She's praying. She's a religious weirdo. It's clearly. I mean, she's a nutcase. We figured that out before. She thinks she communicates with God. So yeah, that's what she was doing.
Yeah, and then Sarah leaves before she meets her. She leaves a death message for Art, but Helena starts talking to her, and she's like, you know what? You're kind of different from the others. And then Sarah punches her in the wound.
In the wound, yeah, that was gangster maneuver.
She's I like Sarah's gangster moves when she knocks. She starts throwing it down with some of these other clones. She's kind of exuded her dominance as the
she's the
badass
dominant clone. Except for the clone who's killing people with sniper rifles, though, that's pretty dominant. But certainly, Sarah smacking Allison in the face and punching and stabbing this Helena with the rebar, and then punching her in the hole where the rebar went.
punching the rebar hole that's got to be like
Yeah,
you're causing some serious damage.
yeah.
Yeah, and
And
then Helena can tell that there's something. They start talking about the connection that they have, and then they have this smoky moment with when Sarah's holding a gun to her face.
yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, what do you think? Is that a weirder smoky moment than Felix having a smoky moment with the mortician?
At the morgue? No, no, no. Well, they're different. One's more of like, will there or won't they? Like, is there going to be an execution here? And the other one is like, will there or won't they have sex? Which really doesn't affect anyone's lives, but it was weird that it was at a morgue behind a mortician. But
Yeah.
they're hard to compare.
It's funny who comes up with these ideas. He's like, okay, I'm gonna have a sexual scene at a morgue, and then I'm gonna have a moment between two people holding killing objects to each other's faces.
Yeah,
It's very creative.
yeah. I mean, I think it'd be fun in another life. I'd love to be involved in like just as in some capacity, even just to witness the creative process, just to see like where these ideas come from. I would love to see more so in like a comedy show, like one of those stupid movies, to see how people come up with those ideas and like when they bounce these ridiculous ideas off of each other. And yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
I digress.
yeah. And then what do you think? Sarah let Helena go. What do you think about that move?
I don't know, man. You can't kill her because then she's gonna go to jail. Like it's gonna blow up her spot because Art's banging on the door, right? She knows Art's coming in.
Yeah, I
So
don't
her
know
only move there is to kill Helena before Art gets there, and then dispose of the body somehow where nobody can find out, which is very difficult to do. Or let her go and then hope she gets away and hides, and she just bought herself more time. Smart. It's her only play there, I think. Buy
Yeah,
yourself
like
a little more time.
the only other play is to really run after Helena out the door and then try to escape Art altogether. But he may have like saw that happening and then yeah,
Yeah,
probably say squatting in the place is probably the best move.
yeah. Play the stunned dumb detective again.
Yeah,
Gotta
that's
get
her
away from that.
go-to. That's her
Yeah,
go-to in any situation is play the I don't know what I'm doing.
play the PTSD card.
Yeah. Okay, and then Art actually confirms, this is Maggie Chan's apartment. You probably shouldn't be here.
Right, right. So did Sarah know? Did Sarah know she was going to Maggie Chen's apartment? Did
I
she
don't
check
think
that?
so.
She just got the call and wrote the address down and went. She didn't compare it to the folder.
Yeah, she did. I don't think she realized it was Maggie Chan's apartment. And then she's like,
Okay, okay.
then he's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "I shouldn't be here.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
This is a bad meeting spot."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then pretty much we're back at the police station, and Art and the head detective are like questioning her on it, and she's doing the whole dumb PTSD or
Yeah.
post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, PTSD. And then yeah, she does what I think was probably the right move and quits the force because this whole facial reconstruction thing is probably a ticking time bomb, and she wants to get out before that. And it seems that Helena isn't a threat to her anymore. It feels like she knows that she's not going after her.
Yeah. So she
Yeah,
get herself some space, figure out what to do next. Yeah, good move. Strong move.
strong
And
play.
if she wants to come back, she can just blame the PTSD and hop right back in.
Yeah, works for Paul, works for the force.
And if she
Yeah,
needs anything from the office, she can always just go bat her eyelashes at Raj, and he'll give her whatever she wants.
yeah, this is true. And yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the episode. We finish up with in the streets. Helena's kind of stumbling around, like it's 3 a.m. after the bar, and then she falls on the ground, and then she actually gets picked up by a man. And if you look closely, you'll see the fish symbol is actually on the ring. So who
On
do
his
you
ring,
think?
yeah.
Yeah, who do you think Mr. Mystery is?
So obviously he's associated with whatever gang Maggie Chen was associated with, and Helen was associated with, Helena. Do any of the clones have that tattoo on their neck?
No, I don't think so.
No, eh?
That's
Helena.
it's like a religious thing. I think they're the religious crew that are trying
Uh,
to kill off the clones.
uh, So this guy was just waiting outside of this apartment. He knew how did he know she was in there? He was just waiting in a van parked about 7 feet away from where she fell over. He just drove like 7 feet and then got out, picked her up, and
Yeah,
took her in.
like he seemed to be parked in the exact right alleyway, which
Yeah,
is kind of strange.
strange. Was he following her? I don't know. It seemed like
Well,
he was just.
maybe that was the meeting spot. I don't know, but then why wouldn't she kind of just try to make it the rest of the 7 feet? Because
I,
she just gave up right there, and then he
yeah,
was kind
well,
of waiting there.
she might be dead too. It would be unfortunate, but I wouldn't be surprised if she died just because she's probably fatally wounded and needed some serious. Because you can't get stabbed by 6 inches of rebar, which shredded all the way inside of her 6 inches, and then just sew up the outer layer of skin. Like there's so much inside of her that's still torn and bleeding, so she's probably very close to dying. I would think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, where do you think it goes from here? What's Sarah's next move in terms of kind of getting Kira, finding out all these people that are trying to kill them? What do
So
you think the next move is here?
I didn't watch. I did not watch the previously on, or sorry, next week
The next
on.
week's? Yeah.
Yeah, I cut right off at the end just because I don't want any sort of spoilers. I don't know. That's tough. Now that she's quit, and I think she kind of likes Paul too. Do you get that vibe at all from her? Like, is
Yeah,
she considering like
Paul
getting involved with Paul here? I don't know. She may make a move to like reconnect with him. Uh, she still needs money. Like, what's she gonna? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what her plan is. She's cooking up something though. She's smart.
Yeah, so Paul seems to actually be attracted more to Sarah than he did to Beth because he's like, there's a lot of changes and I like most of them.
I like it. Yeah, she just like kicked him out of her house basically. He's like, I like this classic wants what he can't have kind of guy, that Paul.
Yeah, Paul's got the classic syndrome of wanting what you can't have.
Yeah, psycho girl playing games with him. He loves her more than ever. Yeah, classic.
Little catch and release ladies always works.
Yeah, play hard to get. To all our lady fans out there, that's the way to. You want a guy like Paul, want butt cheeks like those? Gotta play hard to get.
Yeah, if you love the buck cheeks, you have to let them go.
Yeah, that's how that expression goes, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Uh,
Yeah, but yeah, it's exciting. We're about 4/10 of the way through the season, so there's a
Are there
lot
10
more.
episodes?
Yeah, 10 episodes
So
per season. So
we're
there's a lot
exactly
more.
4/10.
Yeah, we're exactly 4/10. You can also say 2/5, which yeah. So we're doing a good job here, but there's a lot still to cover, and yeah, it's pretty exciting still, and it's fun to rewatch it actually. As someone
You
who's
enjoying
seen
it?
yeah, because you put it's like watching The Matrix for the second time. Like you see
There's
kind of
more
things.
stuff that you didn't see.
Yeah, you can see kind of how the show is actually structured and put together, and you appreciate the forethought that goes into everything.
Okay. There's I mean, speaking of, are there any other? What else are you watching on TV these days? What's on your radar, TV show wise?
I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I would love.
Classic.
I think we should also do an Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast because
Yeah, I'd love to branch out. You know what I'm into? I just started watching The Nick, Clive Owen's new show, where he's like one of the first ever surgeons in New
really.
York City. Yeah, so they're like trying to figure out how to do surgery, which is pretty cool. I
Ah,
was,
is it good? What type of show is it? Like
it's
Grey's
an HBO.
Anatomy? Grey's
No,
Anatomy,
no,
or like
it's
a really good
no,
show?
no, it's HBO. It's very it's dark and like he's addicted to cocaine. Like he injects himself with cocaine all the time, but he's a chief of surgery. So it's pretty cool. Like it's dark. It's an HBO show, so it's very well done. Like really good cast, like expensive. So, and then I've been
Yeah.
watching The Strain as well, and You're the Worst are the two really other good shows that just started that I
What's
highly
your
recommend.
What's your the worst?
It's about these two people who are a guy and a girl who are a little older and they've had like a bunch of their friends are all getting married and stuff and they're both kind of assholes, like they treat people like shit and they just like and then they kind of and they meet each other at the wedding in a weird way and then start hooking up and then it goes from there. It just started. It's funny. They're both hilarious. It's an FX show as well. I'm pretty sure. So it's in the same vein as The Strain.
Okay.
Yeah, just want to know if anything else is on your radar. If there's anything that you got for me that's new though, besides like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's not in. I guess we're coming up to the fall. Everything's going to come back in season soon, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I watched Bachelor in Paradise, but that's
Is that a
uh,
reality show?
yeah. So it's all the old contestants from The Bachelorette or The Bachelor go on this dating show, and
Yeah.
it's set in Mexico, and pretty much the way it works is there's like 6 boys and 6 girls, and then there's an episode where they bring in a new boy, and then essentially these 7 guys are competing for 6 roses from the girls, and then
Oh wow.
the next episode they bring in like a new girl, and then those 7 girls are competing for the guys. So then like it encourages like different hookups and things like that,
Yeah.
and there's like
I
a
bet
lot of
it's. I bet
drama.
it's. I bet it's just a huge orgy.
Yeah, but it's funny because like I was saying before, it's like a huge kind of orgy fest, but they're all convinced that they're on The Bachelor, and they're like, I'm here looking for love. I left my
Right.
I left my kid at home, and I wouldn't do that
Oh
unless I
god.
thought I would meet the man of my dreams. Like they're not fooling us. We all know you can meet people when you're when you're at home, and they like accuse each other of like just wanting to be on TV. Like you all want to be on TV. You wouldn't just go to this unless you didn't want to be on TV. It's just the hypocriticalness of like some of the characters is gets to me. But
Crazy.
besides that, yeah. Besides
Yeah.
that,
They're
it's
like,
a really funny show.
all right, man. You never know. Leo's a big fan, so maybe I'll get into it one day. You never know. Never say never.
That's what Justin Bieber says. So
Oh god. He's the worst.
what?
He's
You're
the
not
worst.
you're not a believer like I am?
No, God, no. Oh, yeah, I said that in your video, eh? No, he's the worst. He's giving Canada such a bad rep. I can't stand it.
He's the Lindsay Lohan of his generation, which is the same generation as Lindsay Lohan. But yeah. Okay. Well, to all the people tuning into the podcast, thanks for joining in. I'll put this up on orphanblackpodcast.com, and then we'll try to do another one next week. Go on to episode 5 and really start digging into everything. And Paul, sorry, Paul, Tom.
Oh, hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
I don't know. I associate Paul's butt cheeks and you for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Hey, man,
But
I'm not, like I said, I'm not complaining.
it goes back to the days when we used to like grab each other's butts, like in grade 12.
Yep. Yes, and we haven't stopped since. So.
So, yeah, going strong. Like 10 years going strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything left to add?
No, thanks for listening. Check out the podcast over at blackpodcast.com, and we'll have one for you coming up next week.
All right. Sounds good. Good talking to you, buddy.
You too, buddy. See you soon.
See ya.